Today we are going to finish out this week with the second outward discipline, and that is the discipline of solitude. Loneliness is inner emptiness. Solitude is inner fulfillment. But if we possess inward solitude, we do not fear being alone, for we know that we are not alone. Neither do we fear being with others, for they do not control us. In the midst of noise and confusion, we are settled into a deep inner silence. Whether alone or among people, we always carry with us a portable sanctuary of the heart. One of the deepest suggestions that Foster gives throughout this chapter on solitude is to find a quiet place. To find somewhere physical, whether it be a room in your house, a place on your property, a walking trail, somewhere off the beaten path, whether it be a retreat center or a church or wherever it is that God calls you to be truly alone with Him. It is finding places like this that can help us to truly develop that deep personal relationship that is not reliant on others, it's not dependent on others, but it allows us to cry out like the psalmist, to search me within. And so if we don't have a quiet place, if we don't have solitude in our lives, are we ever truly alone with God? Now, obviously, a physical place isn't the end goal, for it is that solitude in the heart, that comfortability of walking with integrity with God everywhere we go, that this practice of solitude can begin. Jesus is clearly a model for solitude, for the amount of time he could spend alone, for the amount of times he would go out alone to just be. I can't imagine the temptation to fall into loneliness for Jesus, being the only God to have humbled himself into man's body, to walk this earth knowing he is the only spotless lamb. But yet Jesus does not seem to creep into that. But when he is alone, he comes back with more understanding of who he is, with more understanding of who God is, with more understanding of his purpose. And so what happens without solitude? How many wise warnings do we have about being blown from place to place, being rocked by every wave? Without solitude, we are constantly listening and feeling and believing things that aren't meant for us. But what happens with solitude? With solitude, we find our place with God. With solitude, we find comfort in who we are made to be. In solitude, we begin to believe the truth that we are loved by God personally, not as part of a crowd, not as part of a people. One-on-one, standing before the throne. Lord, I pray that you would humble us in solitude, that you would bring us face to face with you, that you would teach us how to be silent, how to be comfortable in our own skin all alone. Lord, that we would be just as much your child when we're all alone as we are in the crowd. Lord, teach us how to be confident and joyous when it's just you and us. Amen.